Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is a very special episode of Splat from the Past because as you know, I haven't been able to interview a whole lot of 80s rock musicians, but today I have one coming on, and it's Marv Ross, the guitarist for 80s new wave band Quarterflash. As a lot of you may or may not know, his wife, Rindy Ross, is the lead singer and saxophone player for the band. And I'm having him on the show today to talk about how the two of them met, how they got in bands, how they became successful with Quarterflash, how they handled fame, and what they're doing currently. And I can't wait. I'm a huge Quarterflash fan. You may remember their classic hit, "You Want a Heart in My Heart." Such a timeless classic. Big MTV staple back in the day. And this has been a long time coming, and I can't wait. So yeah, here is my interview with Marv Ross.
This is Marv.
Hey Marv, it's Tommy.
Hey Tommy, how are you?
I'm great. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Thanks. I'm doing great.
It's such an honor, sir, because when I was a kid in the mid-'90s, I used to watch VH1 The Big 80s, and I used to see Quarterflash videos on there.
Yeah, that's a while back now, Tom.
Yeah. and I used to have a VHS tape called Geffen Records The Vintage 80s, and the Quarterflash video for Take Me to Heart was on there, and so I've been a big fan ever since, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
Oh, happy to do it.
Awesome. So, going back in time, did you fall in love with music early on?
Oh yeah, sure. As a kid, the radio was always always on. My sister, I had two older sisters at the time, and had transistor radios, and we used to pick berries in the summertime out here in Oregon. There was lots of berries being grown in those days, so everybody had their radios tuned to the one pop rock station in Portland at the time, and so it was just like music was just all around, and I fell in love with it. And I also had a couple of great music teachers, both in elementary, grade school, that just made music fun. And that was fantastic.
Yeah. Who'd you listen to growing up?
I listened to everything because I wasn't really, at the time, when I was growing up, which was, the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
there was still there weren't any radio stations that played like a particular style, really. I mean, there were stations that were more aimed at kids, but they were still playing, they would go right from something like, Chuck Berry to something like Burt Bacharach to something like Jimmy Dean, to Big John or something like that. I mean, it was kind of like, it was amazing really at the time in America. There was sort of like this sort of a vast sweep of styles being played all on one station. And that, obviously, by the 70s, that was gone when radio stations started to really, aim their music at particular age groups and, all these different social groups. But at the time when I grew up, it was you listened to everything. And that was a big influence on us. And a lot of the stuff, like even the Beatles, if you listen to them, they were playing old rock and roll, but they were playing, Buck Owens. They were covering Buck Owens' country songs. They had a bunch of different styles. They were never any one particular thing. And that was the generation I grew up in as well.
Yeah, by the 70s you had AM, FM, and that's how it is today still.
Yeah, that's right.
How old were you when you started playing guitar?
I was probably about 15. I don't remember the exact time. My dad had a old beat-up archtop in the attic, and when, I was like one of the millions of kids who saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. They appeared 4 times within a period of a month or two, and so it was every kid I knew all of a sudden wanted to play guitar and be in a band. It was had that big of an impact, and the guy said, that's pretty much an unplayable guitar. The neck on that thing is so bad. But I had to put strings on it anyway, so I started, picking out little guitar riffs that I heard on the radio through the years, and everything from the beginning of certain Beatles songs. I never could hardly play anything all the way through, but I just started pulling little licks off of here and there, like Louie Louie or something like that.
Yeah, remember the old pawn shop guitars?
Oh yeah, sure do. My dad and mom gave me finally a real guitar, probably when I was about 15, and it was a Harmony guitar, electric, and I borrowed an amp from a neighbor my sister babysit for. He played steel pedal, but no longer played, and so it was just this beautiful old brown tweed Fender amp, and I wish I still had that. But so that was my first thing that I started playing.
Nice. What year did you meet Rindy?
I met Rindy when we were juniors in high school. We went to the same high school, so I would have been 17, and we were in English class together, and just sort of became friends first, and then she was more serious as a musician. She had a folk guitar, and she was finger picking pretty well and playing stuff like Judy Collins and Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell, early Joni Mitchell stuff, and I went to see her at her church. She was playing in a Methodist church group, and so I went to see her play, and I was pretty blown away. I was like, whoa, this woman's amazing. And then shortly after that, we started dating, and about probably a year after we were dating, I started, saying, hey, let's play a little bit together. And by the time I had gotten a little better, and I was still, she was still a better guitar player for me for about a year, and then I sort of passed her, and then when we were probably in our early 20s, her dad was a saxophone player, a good sax player, and he had a saxophone couple up around the house, and she picked one up, and she had played kind of for like just a few months when she was in 5th grade in a grade school band, but she didn't really enjoy it that much. She preferred playing guitar, but then she went back to the sax, and she started playing the sax, and while I was playing guitar, and that's sort of how we ended up our instruments. It just seemed like just sort of a natural progression.
Mm-hmm. You guys were friends first, but it was love at first sight?
Yeah, she's a very, very pretty woman, and she was, as a young woman, of course, and I had a crush on her, and so it was one of those things where I lucked out.
Yeah. So you two immediately, not immediately, but you guys eventually started playing music, and you formed Seafood Mama?
Right. Well, the very first band we were in was in college. We went to Western Oregon University together, and we were playing as a duet. We would just every once in a while, nothing like on a professional level, but just something would come up. Somebody said, "Oh, Randy and Marv can do something," and they have us play something small thing. But there was a band at the school that was an established sort of folk band, and they were called the Broom Street Singers, and they changed it to just Broom Street. And they were older than us. They were music majors, and we were I think we were sophomores, and they were seniors, and two of their members graduated from college, and so they were all of a sudden they had two people they needed to fill in for gigs, and so they had seen us play at something and asked us to join them. So for the 2 years in college, we were part of this folk group that we were called Broom Street, and they were very professional, and I learned a lot from them in terms of rehearsal and how to make a set work, and just sort of the basics of being a professional, showing up on time, and how long we're playing, and all those kind of things, picking up a set list, and they were also great because I was already writing my own songs by that time, and I said, would you guys mind if you guys sang one of my songs? And they said, yeah, sure. So I think I wrote maybe half a dozen songs for them, and that was great. That was a good starting place. And after that, we graduated from college our
mm-hmm.
teaching degrees, and became teachers in Bend, Oregon. And it was there that we started a band called Jones Road. And we lived on Jones Road at the time, and so we named the band after the street. And that was 3 years of working in that band. And that band had a lot of success in Central Oregon. And then we moved to Portland and formed Seafood Mama. So Seafood Mama was actually our third band.
Oh, okay. And what were you guys teaching?
Well, I was teaching English, and Randy was teaching 5th grade.
Wow. So you guys weren't teaching in the same school?
No. Actually, Randy taught in a little town outside of Bend called Redmond at the time, and so she had a little commute. But, yeah, that was great, because there was a lot of... it was a good way for us to sort of work our way into being professional musicians. We just didn't have enough experience at that point to just jump in and try to make a living out of music. So we had the income of 2 teachers, which allowed us to buy a car and buy decent instruments and do all the things that we needed to get ready. So, by the time our 3rd year had rolled around, we felt like, gosh, we're still young. Let's take a shot at music. People really loved the band we were in there, but we knew we couldn't, make a living in a small town like Bend at the time. We really needed to move to a metropolitan area and take a real shot at it. So we quit our teaching jobs and moved to Portland, and which is where we'd grown up. So we were familiar with the city, but it was sort of like starting over. That's for sure in terms of making a living. And the first year was a struggle with Seafood Mama, and the second year was better, and then the third year we basically exploded and became, really successful in Portland and in Seattle. And, and I wrote Heart My Heart was originally a Seafood Mama song and released as an independent 45 before we got signed to Geffen.
Huh. So what year did Quarterflash form?
Well, Quarterflash form would have been about 1980, and then because there was a whole year where Randy and I disbanded Seafood Mama. We just left it, walked away from it, and sort of we're just going to do our music by ourselves, just the 2 of us. But so for a year I got signed to Geffen, and we started that first album without a band. It was just the 2 of us working with a producer in Los Angeles. We started laying down tracks and using some studio musicians and ourselves, obviously, and but we started missing being in a band and thought, as we were making the record, we just went, this using studio musicians, everything is losing something. So we went back to Portland, and we knew these other guys that became the members of Quarterflash to some extent, and we put the band together and then finished that record, the very first album. We finished that with the whole band and released the record in the October of '81.
Mm-hmm. And where did the name Quarterflash come from?
Well, when we were making that record, we had a very gracious producer, John Boylan. John Boylan was a legendary Los Angeles producer, a wonderful man, still alive. We just saw him recently.
Mm-hmm.
Probably best known for his work with Linda Ronstadt, who he basically produced and discovered. And he put the Eagles together for her. That's how the Eagles came to exist, was John put all those guys together, Fry and Hamley and all those guys in one room, and said, you're going to be Linda Ronstadt's backup band. And so they went on to their own careers, obviously. But so John, and also he produced Boston, which was a huge album, that first record. And anyway, so John graciously let us stay in his house, and John had a wonderful library. And he was, at the time, really involved with Australian bands because he was producing the Little River Band, which were from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
He had this book sitting on his coffee table that said, slang Australian sayings from the 1800s. It's just this bizarre book of just all these weird phrases and stuff that Australians said that were just wacky. And Quarterflash was in that book, and Quarterflash was a reference to the Australians would call the newcomers who were coming into the country. They called them Quarterflash, which meant that they were 1/4 flash and 3 parts stupid, which is, we thought was funny. And so we just went, well, that's an interesting sounding word. Let's use that. And that's how it happened.
Wow, and that's a rare producer, I'll tell you. to let you guys stay at his place. That is really awesome.
Yeah, it was, because we didn't know anybody in LA, and we would have been staying in some, weird apartment or something. And so he had this lovely home in Nichols Canyon. That was of course, that was the era of all the, the canyon culture of Los Angeles was at its height with Jackson Browne and the Eagles and Joni Mitchell and Mama and the Papas and all these, giant stars living in these Laurel Canyon and Nichols Canyon, all these canyons that come down into Hollywood and Hollywood Hills. So it was sort of, it was sort of a dream come true to be able to live that life and meet those. We've met a lot of people through John and through other people that were heroes of ours, through the years growing up. So it was a lot of fun, exciting time.
Yeah, that's amazing. The first album comes out, Hard in My Heart becomes a huge hit. Where did that song come from in terms of inspiration?
Well, it was developed slowly. I've been in the studio for a year writing, and I kept writing songs trying to find something that clicked. And the saxophone, up to that time, we had never used the saxophone like at the front of the song. It was always something like we used it for a lead or a solo in the songs that I'd written up to that point. And I had written this, a friend of mine had written a poem called Hard in My Heart. It was kind of a long, rambling lyric poem. And I didn't think that the whole poem could be turned into a song, but I loved the title, and I asked him, I said, do you mind if I, use that title and try to write my own song for Rindy with that phrase? And he said, absolutely, you can't copyright a title anyway. So I said, well, that's still very gracious of you. And anyway, so I took the title, and I just thought, I'm just going to write something, really straight ahead and passionate and strong for Rindy. And the hook came pretty easy. I think the thing, I think the phrase "swallow my tears" was a phrase that was sort of like, okay, that's catchy. I hadn't heard that phrase before, and I just felt like I'll just keep it simple, 3 chords, and I'll just see what happens. And then we finished the song, and it felt really good. And the little da-da-da-da, the little thing at the top, the little lick that became the big, huge sax, I was playing that on guitar. Originally, that was a guitar lick. It just didn't sound strong enough, and so I asked everybody, "Why don't you come down and try to play this little melody line on the sax?" And it's really funny because we just bought this new effects box. At the time, it was a big deal. It was called the Roland 301 Chorus Echo, and they were in a new rig. We didn't know really how to use it. We plugged a mic into it and said, "Really, play that saxophone line into this box, and we'll see what happens on the other end." And we go into the other studio and listen to the speakers. So I'm in the other room, and we accidentally had the thing turned on 10. We didn't know how to set the levels yet. And she played the lick, and it was like, oh my God, what is that sound? And we had overdriven the tape. This thing had tape inside, and we'd overdriven the tape, which made the saxophone distort. And it made it sound huge. Put a big chorus on it and a delay, which was also in this effects box. And we just went, don't touch anything, do that again. And that became the signature sound, and was this overdriven tape box. And so that's how that happened. But we just knew as soon as she played it, there was another guy with me standing next to me, Danny Anderson, who helped me produce that single. We both just looked at each other and just went, wow, that is huge sounding. And that was it. We knew it was a hit. We just had a feeling. It was like, wow. We said, no, that is totally captivating from the beginning of the song to the end of the song. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, I love the musicianship on the song. It reminds me of Pink Floyd with Rindy's sax and your guitar solo. I just love it.
Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that much.
Of course. My favorite song on the album is Williams Avenue.
Yeah, that was one of the very first songs I wrote in that era. I wrote the lyric first. I was working at a 88-cent store as a stock boy, and the store was on Williams Avenue, Runyon's 88-cent store. And it was my living in that part of Portland, which was had a real strong African American element. A lot of the neighborhood was really influenced by African American culture and stores and businesses and everything. And so, the first time in my young life, I think I was 18 or so when I was working there.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden I was listening to black music a lot because they had radio stations going on and all this stuff, and so it was just one of those things. That's what that song really is about: is being aware of another culture. And during my break as a stop boy, me and the other guys would smoke a joint and then go back to work. And so High on Williams Avenue kind of just evolved out of that. It's funny because it was a song that I didn't think should be on the record. I was not particularly enamored with it myself at that point because it was an older song and you tend to like your latest stuff. And John Boylan heard it at a gig we were playing, and he before we started recording, and he goes, "You never played me that song." I said, "No, it's an older one. I'm not really that into it." And he goes, "Man, that's a great song. We got to do that. We got to put that on the record." So thank John Boylan for making that happen, because I wouldn't have included it in the first album.
Yeah, because it's a pretty lengthy, epic song,
It is. Indeed, it is.
And this was right when MTV was starting and changing pop culture. You guys did a really weird video with "Harden My Heart."
We did. The producer, what was funny was because David Geffen, obviously the head of our label, he didn't think that MTV thing was going to happen. He thought it was a fluke.
Yeah.
And so he actually went on record in Rolling Stone magazine saying, "I'm not going to have my bands doing videos on MTV. That's just a stupid thing." And then he was absolutely wrong, which didn't happen too often in his career. He was, sort of considered one of the geniuses of that era. But he was wrong, and MTV took off like a rocket. And then there was a panic because "Harden My Heart" was climbing up the charts, and but we didn't have a video, which everybody who had a song climbing up the charts had a video but us.
Mm-hmm.
So the song was, we were on tour already, touring for that first album, and he called and said, "We're going to do a video tomorrow." I was like, "Really? Tomorrow? Okay." Yeah, I'm flying this guy in from London. He'd done a Paul McCartney video. I can't even remember his name. And he said, what movies do you like? Well, I had just seen a wild, crazy, insane movie called Satyricon by an Italian director named Fellini.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I just saw this movie a couple nights ago that just blew my mind. It was real psychedelic and strange and had all these circus creatures in it and all kinds of just weird stuff going on. But I said it was sort of like being on some kind of LSD watching this film. And he said, "Wow, I'll check it out and we'll put a video together tomorrow." So we showed up in LA, we get off the plane, and he's got hired all these flamethrowers and motorcycles and all this stuff, and we didn't know what we were doing. We had no concept of making a movie or being in front of a camera even. It was such a new art form. It was literally like, a year old at the most. And so we just said, "Okay, we'll do what you want us to do. We'll just tell us what we should do, and we'll do it." So we just basically did it. And when it was all done, we just looked at it and went, "I have no idea what that has to do with the song, but okay." And then what's funny to me, ironic, was that, none of us, Randy and I, or any of us, were particularly fond of it. It was just kind of like, it just seemed like, well, that's really weird, but okay. And then all of a sudden it got, played to death. It was just one play after another. It was just very popular, and some people hated it, some people laughed at it, some people loved it. It didn't really matter. The fact that it was getting played was the good thing, and so that's how that happened. It was just almost like an accident.
Yeah, it is a strange video though, but I like it though for what it is.
Yeah, it's very 80s looking,
Yeah. You guys went on American Bandstand and Solid Gold and all those shows. That must have been nerve-wracking to one day go from being nobody to like having the whole world watch you guys on TV.
Yeah, it was in a way those shows were a relief, because what was more like we played live on, there was a show that was very much like Saturday Night Live called Fridays.
Right.
There's another network tried to copy the same concept. It had some famous comedians that went on to big things. But it was the basic essence of it was that you played literally live on the air, and that was much scarier because you hope that you played your solo right, you hope that they got things right. And in fact, it's funny because when we played that show live, one of the cameramen was trying to get a close-up of her, and he rolled over her microphone cord that her sax was plugged into, and so when she played her sax solo on a song, it was like you couldn't hear it because he had unplugged her.
Mm-hmm.
So those kind of things did happen live. The good thing about American Bandstand or Solid Gold, all those other ones, Merv Griffin Show, we played a bunch of those kind of shows. They were all lip syncs. So you basically, you heard through little speakers on the floor, monitors, you heard your record basically coming back at you real loud, and you just had to pretend you were playing it. And so all you were really had to be concerned about was how that you didn't look like a total dweeb doing it, and that you were somewhat close in your lip syncing. And Rennie was really good at that, so she always looked like she was really singing the song. So those were kind of like, oh, this isn't hard. It's just kind of, we're just going to do this. And it was fun, of course, to be on television. It was fun to have meet Dick Clark and his wife, and I was in charge of the dressing room, and meet the other, musicians. Like we met Madonna on the very first American Bandstand. She was just getting started, and she was, in the dressing room next to us, and she did her first single, which was Borderline, and we did Hard My Heart. And so, you got to hang out with these other musicians that were trying to make it on TV and in these shows. And so it was this was just kind of a blast.
Mm-hmm. What other bands did you guys tour with in those days?
Well, our very first tour was with Loverboy, which was on their second album. We were on our first album.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a winter tour with them, which was really fun, and they were a great band, and the audiences were very similar. After that, we went out with Linda Ronstadt because of John Boylan knew her, and she was going out, so she was trying to do sort of an 80s. She was changing her image, and she was doing songs, covering songs by more cutting-edge artists. I can't remember the name of that album that she was doing at the time, but so we went out with her, and then we went out with Sammy Hagar, which was a really big change because he was really much just before his days with Van Halen, and he was just really the Red Rocker, and it was sort of, just really kick-ass rock and roll. And it was a tour through Texas, and so we did that with him, and then we got then the record had really taken off by then. By then, Hard My Heart was, a top 5 hit, and the whole album, in fact, was getting tons of airplay, and so we got asked by Elton John if we wanted to do his first tour in a long time with Bernie Taupin doing the lyrics. So that was we did his for the whole summer of '82. We toured with Elton all the way his North American tour. So we did all of the United States and Canada, which was fantastic. And then that was the first guys that we toured with.
Wow, that's phenomenal. You guys had the image of looking wholesome, and I remember I saw this interview that Rindy did at the time where she said, people think we're nice. We're nice, but we're not that nice.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, it's interesting because we got kind of a late start in the music business. We did. By the time we got signed, we weren't kids. We weren't wild and crazy 18-year-olds. We were almost 30 by the time we got signed. So I think we just took things at the face value, and sort of at their. We just didn't jump in and go, we're going to spend all of our money on drugs and wild things. We just were more centered as human beings. And that just comes from parental background and how how we grew up and how we were told our work ethic and all those kind of things. So I think we were always, to this day, I think, people, when they think of in the Northwest, where we still have a presence, people still think of us as the guys who were as nice, somebody who's nice. Not that there's anything wrong with being nice, but it's just, it's just sort of counter to a lot of images of rock and roll stars in the past.
Mm-hmm. That is certainly true. You guys ended up contributing to some movie soundtracks, Night Shift being probably the first one. How did you guys get that?
Well, we got that because Ron Howard really loved Heart in My Heart. That was his first film he ever directed, and he was looking to put the music together. And he just loved that song, and he called our label and said, "Here's the deal. I'm making my very first movie, and I got Henry Winkler on board and all these young actors that ended up being big stars later. But the music is all contracted to have Burt Bacharach do all the music. Would Quarterflash be interested in doing a Burt Bacharach song for the movie?" And Rudy and I, they asked us, and we said, well, I guess it really just depends on the song. What does it sound like? If it's a good song, we might be interested. If not, it doesn't, we wouldn't be, obviously. So the Burt Bacharach said, well, why don't you come over to my house and I'll play you the song. And that was sort of like an out-of-body experience. Oh, we're going to go to Burt Bacharach's house and listen to play a song that he wants us to sing, two kids from Oregon, So it was one of those weird, wonderful kind of experiences and opportunities. So we said, sure. So we went over to Burt Bacharach's house. He was married at that time to Carol Bayer Sager. And Carol was his lyricist at the time. She was writing all his lyrics, and he was writing the music for songs. And so they played us the song, and I think Carol sang it. And melodically, it was really, obviously, he had sort of copied Heart My Heart, had exactly the same groove. And in fact, most of the chords were very similar to Heart My Heart chords, but he just sort of bounced them around and made them a little more, put in a couple more Burt Bacharach chords in there, I would call them, a little more extended chords. And then Carol wrote these lyrics, but the one thing that didn't work for me was that the lyrics were just, they were too, they didn't have any kind of an edge or any kind of to me, much interest to them that made me work. So we took the tape home. Well, they made a cassette. And we took it home. We listened to it, and we called our label and said, "Here's the deal. We're interested in doing the tune. It's got some cool things, and it sounds like a Quarterflash song, but the lyrics just aren't working for us." And so they said, "Okay, well, we'll talk to Carol and Burt and see if they're cool with you. We're rewriting a few lyrics." Because I felt like I knew what worked with Rudy's voice in terms of lyrics by then, and I just sort of felt somewhat like I can write this better lyrically. And Burt was perfectly fine with it. Carol was a little peeved, but she agreed. And so I rewrote probably a third of the lyrics, and mostly in the verses. And so it became a co-write then between Burt, myself, and Carol Bayer Sager. And then we went to the studio, and we just gotten off tour with Elton, so we were pretty beat up, but we went ahead and recorded it like in 2 days and got it done. And then they put it out right away because the movie came out, and then it became not a big hit, but it was a top 40 song, and so it got some attention, and it kept the steamroller going there for a while.
Yeah, and then a B-side, "Don't Be Lonely," was on the Fast Times at Ridgemont High soundtrack.
That's right. That's when we started getting, more our stuff placed in Fast Times at Ridgemont High was a big break because that movie's become a classic, a cult classic, and it still gets a lot of play as a film on TV, and people watch it on. It comes up on Netflix or things like that as a classic cult film. Same, and then Gremlins was the same thing. Gremlins we got a song on Gremlins, and Gremlins has become kind of this weird '80s classic Christmas song. So It's great because it means that, occasionally we get checks in the mail and it all helps.
Yeah, Make It Shine. That's a good song. I like that one. So after the debut, were you guys under a lot of pressure for following up for Take Another Picture?
Yeah, we were. Jack, Charles, and I were the two writers in the band, and we had been on tour for a year by then, and we had jumped in after the tour and did the night shift thing, and so all of a sudden we hadn't had any opportunities to write. I'd written one song, which was Take Another Picture, and that was it. So I was starting from scratch as a writer. We had to come up with at least 10, 11 songs. And so Jack and I just started writing and coming up with stuff, and it did feel like a lot of pressure because the first album had gone platinum, which was amazing. So, I had pretty much finished what we thought we'd finished the record and listened to it. John Boylan and the label, and all of us said, it feels like we're missing a single here. I don't know, just nothing here jumps out to me as a hit single. And so I said, okay, well, let me go off into the mountains and try and write a single song. So I ran off by myself into the LA weirdness world and wrote Take Me to Heart, and that became the second single. And obviously it wasn't as big a hit as Heart in My Heart, but it did crack the top 15, and and the album did, obviously compared to the first album, it was a disappointment, but it still sold over 400,000 units. In today's world, that would be a giant hit. A platinum album or a gold album is pretty rare, but 500,000 obviously is a gold album, so we came very close to getting a gold album on the second record, and certainly, everybody did okay, and we had some nice tours. We did, a tour with a long tour with Rick Springfield, which was a lot of fun, and then I think we did a tour. I'm just not sure if that was that album or the third album. It all kind of runs together in my head, but we did eventually went out with Jefferson Starship too.
Mm-hmm. When the third album, Back Into Blue, came out, was the ever-changing musical trends the reason why the band dissolved?
Yeah, there was all kinds of stuff going on in the band. I mean, there was drug issues in that band, in the original Quarterflash, that were the main reason that it fell apart. There were people in that band that just had addiction issues, and they couldn't crack them, and so that was part of it. Other part of it was that it was because of the pressure. I think people started, everybody was everybody was anxious and everybody was nervous. Felt like that things should have gone better on the second, third records or whatever, and so it just created so much tension that it was just like, okay, well, then we'll have a different band. We'll leave, go somewhere else, and try your own thing, and we'll just keep going with this and see what happens. And so it's just it's one of those. It's a story that is just told over and over again in the music business of just all these different things going on. But in the '80s, there was a lot of cocaine going around and a lot of crazy people acting out and stuff. And we were no different than other bands that suffered from that.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. But it seems like on Back Into Blue, you guys seem to have taken an AOR turn, especially on the album that you guys did about 6 years later, Girl in the Wind. Were you guys trying to branch out in sound?
Well, yeah. I mean, in sound, as a writer, I'd always liked to write many different kinds of styles. As I mentioned, growing up, I listened to all kinds of music, so I had a lot of different influences, and I felt we're sort of being, I guess, pushed down by the different influences, what radio people told me we should be, or what the label would tell me what we should be, or whatever. And so, when it got to Back Into Blue, we started doing some dance grooves in there that was fun. We got to Girl in the Wind. That was, I went back to playing more acoustic. A lot of the songs are acoustic oriented, and then we had
Mm-hmm. So did you guys go back to teaching after the band dissolved?
No, I started a production company, Ross Productions here in Portland. We did give up our Los Angeles apartment and just decided we always had a house in Portland, so we just said that we're just going to get rid of the apartment in LA. We're going to give up trying to get a national recording deal. We'll just start our own label, and we'll just do whatever we feel like doing. I had a lot of musical ideas that were boiling in my head, including writing a musical. And Randy wanted to go back to school. She didn't know exactly what she wanted to do. She didn't want to teach, but she wanted to just learn.
Mm-hmm.
So she went back to Portland State University here in Portland and started taking classes. And in the process of that, she found that she really enjoyed learning about psychology and mental health. And she got her master's degree in mental health counseling. And she ended up working for Sisters of Providence. For 17 years, she was a mental health counselor and a very, very highly respected one.
Sure.
And so that's what she did. And then the production company, one of my first projects that I got thrown in my lap was the state of Oregon. Said, well, you have a lot of experience touring and putting on shows and writing music and putting bands together. Could you create this giant traveling show that would celebrate the state's 150th anniversary of the Oregon Trail?
Mm-hmm.
And I went, well, that's really a wacky idea. Sure, I'd love to do that because I was ready for something really different, as far away from rock music as I could get. And so I put together this band, and we called ourselves originally the Oregon Trail Band, and then it became just the Trail Band. And the Trail Band was a really eclectic group of musicians who were incredibly talented, who played instruments and music that was sort of inspired by the Oregon Trail. And so we did had fiddles and banjos and hammered dulcimers and horn, brass instruments, and ended up writing a whole musical that would tour schools because as a teacher I knew what the schools would like. And so we created this hour-long show that told the story of the Oregon Trail in music and with actors and everything, and Native American actors. And that became a big hit, and we ended up, over the course of 20-some years, that band stayed amazingly together and recorded something like 13 or 14 albums. We just retired that band, and it had also created out of that band an extremely successful Christmas show, which was a benefit for a wonderful organization called Friends of the Children here in Portland. And we raised $1 million over the course of 20-some years for them with our Christmas show. So that was one of the main things I did. The other thing I did was the musical I'd always wanted to write came into fruition, and I worked with 5 Native American singers and actors and wrote a song based on the history of a place called Celilo Falls, which was a wonderful waterfalls where all the Native Americans fished for centuries. That was destroyed by a dam that was built, and so this musical was based on that, and that became very popular and sold out and did 2 runs with it and won several awards. And then just recently, Ross Productions just released, just this week we'll be releasing a new album with John Coons, who's a wonderful Americana singer, and I wrote the songs for him to sing, and that came out great. Now we have a viral video going on right now. It's over 1,000 views a day. It's on a song that John sang and I wrote, and so people can check that out. It's on Vimeo. It's called I Won't Sing Here Anymore.
Wow, that is wonderful, especially with that accomplishment, raising that money. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I was very, very proud of that. Randy and I worked really hard, and the whole band did, creating that Christmas show. We did it every year. We did like 13 shows, usually 13 to 20 shows, depending on the year. So most of the shows were in Portland. We always did 5 shows in Portland at this one theater, the Aladdin, which we played 120 times. We sold out the Aladdin Theater, which is pretty amazing. And then it toured around the state as well, and up into Seattle and Washington, Everett, and those kind of places.
Wow. Do you guys have any shows coming up?
Well, this CD that we're just releasing
that's great. Yeah, my dad lives up in Marysville, Washington, and
Oh yeah.
I might be visiting him in November. If you guys have any shows during that time, I'd love to bring him down there.
Oh, yeah. In November, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. November 2nd is when we're playing at Cannon Beach. It's a little theater there called the Coaster Theater, really cool theater. And so that's, you just come right down to Washington, I-5, and zip over to the coastal part of Oregon, and it's the northern coast, little town there. It's a real cute town.
Mm-hmm. I'll do my best. I don't know exactly when in November I'm coming down, though, but
Sure.
hopefully, I'll stay connected with you and stuff. Well, Marv, tell Rindy I'm her biggest fan. Her voice and saxophone are just amazing, and your guitar playing is just amazing, and I'm so honored we could talk today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, Tommy. I'm glad we did it.
And you have yourself a great day, sir.
You too, Tom. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Marv Ross. Ain't he a cool dude? Got great stories about rock and roll. I think I did a pretty good first rock legend show on Splat from the Past today. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!